COVID-19 pandemic has forced us to take a very hard look at ourselves, to reassess what we are doing with our physical health and our mental health. There were things that we would never do before the pandemic, which the pandemic has now forced us to do. In that sense, COVID-19 has been an eye-opener. It is for this reason that we put together Health 360 for our viewers, to just tell them how it is time to get back to the basics. I'm Sneha Mordani, and today we are going to talk about something that is extremely important for all of us. That is good sleep. So why is sleep so important? Undoubtedly, it rejuvenates your body and mind. Rest, of course, is extremely important, but it also helps you keep a dozen mental and physical health diseases at bay. Take a look.
Fatigue, anxiety, irritability, lack of concentration, forgetfulness, exhaustion. If you go through all of these or some of these regularly, you may want to maintain a sleep diary and consult a neurologist or a psychiatrist. These could be telltale signs of sleep deprivation.
Now, a common question asked many a times is, how do I know that I'm sleep deprived? And of course, apart from feeling tired, when you wake up feeling, exhausted or tired, that's one of the common symptoms. But apart from that, excessive, sleepiness, yawning, lack of concentration, headaches, irritability, just feeling exhausted and tired, even sometimes forgetfulness and anxiety. So those could be the early symptoms that you're getting sleep deprived, and it's time to catch up and cover up for that sleep, deficit that you are creating.
The body's ability to function declines if one does not get enough sleep according to one's age. But what is optimal sleep for different age groups?
Now, the amount of sleep varies with age. For example, newborns require 14 to 17 hours of sleep, while infants from 12 to 15. Now, as the babies grow older, when they're children, 9 to 11 hours, and adults typically require 7 to 8 hours. Recommended is actually 7 to 9, and as older adults, 7 to 8.
If you don't get the optimal level of sleep, you are sure headed for some health trouble. It is almost an open invitation to different illnesses and also makes you age faster. Along with physical health, lack of sleep even has an impact on your mental health.
A lot of people who have sleep disturbances have daytime drowsiness, and because of that it becomes very difficult for them to continue to do any proper work, and they may be taking naps in the day. As a result of this, over the long term, it impacts their relationships and can also cause depressive disorders related to sleep disturbances.
But why does sleep deprivation even occur?
The problem of why sleep deprivation occurs can also definitely be behavior related. Nowadays, due to all the screen time that we all have, what we don't realize is that the amount of screen time that we show our brain, our eyes, our brain, there is actually more production of cortisol and less production of melatonin, which is required for sleep, and cortisol is what keeps us active. Apart from that, health issues, hypothyroidism, some people might have obesity, that will also contribute. If somebody is obese, they're not going to get a restful sleep, they might be snoring at night, that was they're not getting enough oxygen, so that is sleep apnea. That could also be a problem. Then apart from that, the most common, of course, personal obligations and work obligations, especially in the younger generation.
All of this is fixable. Firstly, maintain a sleep diary if you are unable to sleep. Then, consult a neurologist or a mental health practitioner like a psychiatrist. Ensure you are being monitored by any of these doctors. After all, when kids were studying poems, very early on in their life, it is drilled into them, perhaps for a reason, that early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy and wise. Time to revisit it for real. Meanwhile, here's wishing you some sweet dreams. In New Delhi, Chethi Narula for India Today.
Research has now found a link between sleep apnea and cancer and also dementia. This sleep disorder actually kills thousands of people across the world. Very recently, singer Bappi Lahiri died of sleep apnea. But many of us don't even know what this disease really is and what are the signs and symptoms of it. Patients don't even know if they're suffering from it. Our next report breaks down sleep apnea for you. Popular singer Bacha says he's fighting sleep apnea. Bappi Lahiri died earlier this year. Cause of death, sleep apnea. Capital Breakfast Show presenter Roman Kemp suffers from sleep apnea.
We did something right, and these guys are continuing the tradition. You guys got to give them their flowers. Give these their flowers.
American Idol judge Randy Jackson
Doing it hard, man.
and Star Trek actor William Shatner, both of them suffer from sleep apnea. The list is endless. Obstructive sleep apnea is one of the most commonly observed type of sleep apnea, a disorder that millions suffer from. Sleep apnea is a serious sleep disorder where breathing repeatedly stops and starts. This happens when the soft tissues supporting your throat and tongue relax, which causes your airway to close momentarily, cutting off breathing. Periods when breathing stops completely are called apnea. There are three main types of apnea. Obstructive sleep apnea. This is more commonly observed and happens when your throat muscle relaxes and cuts off breathing. Central sleep apnea. This happens when your brain can't send proper signals to the muscle that controls your breathing. And complex sleep apnea syndrome, when you have both central and obstructive sleep apnea. Do you suffer from it? Well, you won't know, but ask your bed partner if any of these following symptoms they noticed. Loud snoring. Episodes in which you stop breathing during a sleep. Gasping for air during sleep. Awakening with a dry mouth. Morning headache. Difficulty staying asleep. Excessive daytime sleepiness. Difficulty paying attention while awake. Irritability and night sweats. In India, more than 40 lakh people suffer from obstructive sleep apnea.
Obstructive sleep apnea is a very common form of a sleep-related breathing disorder. Though it is seen in children as well, it is more commonly seen amongst adults, especially men who are more than 50 years of age, who are obese, or women who are in their postmenopausal period. The prevalence of obstructive sleep apnea is as high as 25% in the men, and it is as high as 10% in women. That means every one of the 4 men is known to suffer from some severity of this obstructive sleep apnea.
So how is sleep apnea treated then? For milder cases, doctors would prescribe you different treatments, including lifestyle recommendations.
Weight reduction by diet control and regular exercise is strongly recommended in sleep apnea. Avoid alcohol, sleeping pills and quit smoking, which increase choking in the throat. Sleeping sideways helps in reducing obstruction in upper airway. Please remember that lifestyle management can cure obstructive sleep apnea in a majority of the patients.
For more serious cases, doctors recommend continuous positive airway pressure or CPAP machine.
So in a positive airway pressure, normally the doctor asks you to wear a mask over your nose, which is then connected to a machine via a tube, through which a positive airway pressure goes inside your nose and the upper airway and tend to keep the upper airway open even during sleep. A continuous use of this CPAP device is known to reverse most of the ill effects of the obstructive sleep apnea.
Sleep apnea can cause high blood pressure, increase your chances of having a stroke. Plus, it can lead to depression or changes in your mood. In New Delhi, Sneha Murdani for India Today. Well, it is widely believed that the COVID-19 pandemic did indeed mess up with our sleep patterns and led to a lot of anxiety. Now it has been documented that indeed coronasomnia is a thing, and heat waves are not helping our sleep patterns either.
Is it boiling hot in your city? Is the humidity out of control? And are you tossing and turning in your bed every night? Well, you're not alone. The temperature around you plays a key role in how well you sleep, and heat waves, it's been scientifically proven, messes up your sleep cycle completely. This has to largely do with your body temperature in the night. Our bodies are tuned to dropping body heat in the night to help us sleep. The hormone melatonin serves essentially as a natural alarm clock. When it's night time or time to sleep, it widens the blood vessels in our hands and feet to get rid of heat from our bodies. Now what happens if the air around us is hot too? It becomes a lot harder for our bodies to cool off, and thereby our sleep patterns are affected.
If you consider our brain to be a machine which keeps on running, so as every machine needs a rest, that's how our brain also needs a rest. So sleep is important to reset our mental function. So it's very important that we all should at least sleep for 7 hours every night.
When temperatures go up, deep sleep gets impacted, and deep sleep for at least a few hours is the bare minimum we all need to ensure our body truly gets the rest it needs.
An adult should sleep at least 7 hours. The sleep contains multiple parts. Some of the parts when we sleep are deep sleep, which is in medical terms called REM and NREM sleeps. These have got separate importance in terms of serving different higher mental function of our body.
Now add to the rising temperatures all the sleep challenges that we faced in the last 2 years due to COVID, and it's a deadly cocktail. The pandemic ruined sleep cycles. The stress and anxiety of COVID added to the work from home patterns completely hit our lifestyle choices. A recent survey by a social media platform found that 54% Indians surveyed confirmed their sleep patterns changed post the pandemic, and most Indians said it was due to sleep apnea, trouble falling asleep, needing more hours of sleep, or simply staying asleep in the night. This has now even got a term called coronasomnia, caused by personal stress, by the grief of losing a loved one, and even anxiety over any COVID-related news.
At times, getting a psychological support and mental support is very important. Some of the sleeping pills at times help, but if you have got any of those symptoms, do see a doctor for proper evaluation and advice.
The pandemic, coupled with the rising global temperatures, has led to a vicious cycle of no sleep, leading to stress and vice versa. But a good night's sleep is very, very important. Bureau Report, India Today.
So how does your clinician really diagnose your sleep disorders? This is how they do it. First of all, they study your medical history. They also importantly study your sleep history. Physical examination, sleep study. Now these sleep studies monitor data about your body when the patient is asleep. Data is actually about various things. It can be about brain wave changes, eye movements, also about your breathing rate, your blood pressure, your heart rate, and your electrical activity of the heart and other muscles. Let's now talk about all foods that are going to help you regulate your sleep better. First of all, ashwagandha is extremely popular. Why does ashwagandha help you regulate your sleep? Ashwagandha contains vithinolides that help de-stress. It also contains triethylene glycol that brings on sleepiness. Among nuts, almonds are supposed to be great, and they also contain magnesium that help you sleep better because it relaxes your muscles. Almonds also help in regulating sleep, regulating melatonin. Chamomile tea which also again is extremely popular. It contains apigenin, which is an antioxidant that promotes sleep. Pumpkin seeds also help you sleep better. These are power foods. It contains tryptophan that raises serotonin and melatonin. Nutmeg milk also is supposed to help you sleep better. It is actually a glass of milk that works wonders. A dash of nutmeg which helps in raising melatonin. A zillion apps are now available to tell you how to sleep better. So which are these apps really, and which of these ones will be serving the purpose? Our tech correspondent Ayush has put together this report to help you understand which app to go for. Take a look.
Sleep deprivation is a real problem. Research studies have shown that not getting adequate sleep can lead to health risks like diabetes, depression, high blood pressure and obesity. At home, we always hear our folks telling us that the blue light on our devices is bad for us and keeping us awake at night. But there's enough technology on those very devices which could help us sleep better as well. There's software and hardware hacks to ensure you track your sleep and health too. So is a good night's sleep just an algorithm away? Well, let's find out. Now, a good way to get started is with a fitness tracker. And while the Apple Watch is a fantastic health and fitness companion, it's not the only product which tracks your sleep. You can get much cheaper options that could get you fairly accurate readings like your sleep stages, overnight heart rate variability, that's called HRV, respiration rate, blood oxygen saturation levels, and even skin temperature. You have trackers from Garmin, Fitbit, and even Xiaomi which do the job quite well. Even Samsung's Watch 4 has an interesting feature where it listens for your snoring whilst you're sleeping and even records it. Wake up the next morning and the watch will give you a sleep quality score and tell you how to improve it. There's devices by Google like the Nest Hub which can monitor your sleep by just placing them on the nightstand. But if you want to ensure quality sleep without investing much in all of these devices, then there's a bunch of apps that could sort you out as well. For instance, there's Pillow, a smart sleep assistant for the iPhone which can track your sleep even if the phone is kept nearby. It has a smart alarm clock, personalized insights, and also plays sleep aid sounds. Slumber is another interesting one which is targeted at helping you beat insomnia by reading out a collection of sleep-inducing stories and meditation routines. Then there's the Calm app which is super easy to use and has a section which tells you bedtime stories for kids and us adults as well. It has interesting stories narrated by celebrities like Matthew McConaughey, but I'm not sure if I want to hear lines from his Wolf of Wall Street role yet though. There's also meditation routines on the app made specifically for sleep and tools to combat stress and ASMR. Now personally, I use the Sleep++ app on my Apple Watch. It's a third-party app and for me this combination has worked out about fine. But most of the features on this app are paid. And honestly, the free apps that I was talking about earlier get the job done anyway. So maybe some of the options that I shared earlier might be a better bet. Well, I can only hope that these Tech Today hacks have been useful and can help you get a good night's sleep.
Well, that report brings us to the end of this edition. We hope you enjoyed watching the show as much as we did putting it together for you. We also hope that some of the tips that have been offered through the course of the show is something that you can use to help improve your sleep habits. Until next time, stay safe and do take very good care of yourself.